My name is Tom Boya, and we leave you with military tales. Having joined the Kenya Navy in 2003, Sergeant Retired Reverend Stephen Ojwang, was involved in key operations. Those operations including unearthing of drug cartels in the coastal city of town, and those fighting piracy along Kenya's coastline. So this week on Military Tales, we're going to leave you with the Kenya Defense Forces general who also did some work in the space of photojournalists. I'm Tom Boya. Good night and enjoy your viewing.
I'm Sergeant Retired Reverend Stephen Ojwang. I'm an ex-military officer, that is, I'm a veteran. I was enlisted in 2003 and I retired on compassionate grounds in 2021. I was enlisted also to come and join Ulinzi as a martial arts practitioner. And also as a technician. When I joined, I served for less than 2 years as a technician, and then I became the Kenya Navy coach for Taekwondo, where I served all the way to the Ulinzi team. And I didn't stay long again in Taekwondo as a martial arts. Thereafter, I got an opportunity to become part of the Defense Military Intelligence by selection and training. So I became a field intelligence officer, and at the same time I also practiced intelligence journalism, where I learned matters photography and video. Working for the Kenya Navy, I was privileged to be part of the team and also the pioneers of anti-piracy along the coastline, and also fighting drug cartels and drugs within the coast. The second highlight happens in 2012 when I was also again engaged and privileged to be part of the team that was to prepare and also advise accordingly in matters Al-Shabaab, and finally the capturing of Kismayo team at town. My last highlight would be in my service within the same unit and at the Kenya Defense Forces, where again I transited to becoming the chaplain as a catechist within the Defense Forces. The main concern is about capturing of images, which basically is used for as a collection tool. At the same time, we use it for various activities in terms of capturing and covering of our events and functions. And in the process of doing that, the most interesting part is when now you have to capture either operations which are security related, and finally you have to go to the war areas or prepare for war. My interest in becoming a priest or finally a catechist chaplain in the military was informed when I was a young boy, coming from a background that I was not privileged as I grew up within the suburbs of Mathare, and one of the local churches, that is Redeemed Gospel Church and Archbishop Kitonga, took me to school, and so I loved church, and finally that is how I began following Matters Church. One, my role is both moral, in terms of helping the soldiers to be able to live a moral life. We also look into matters moral, because when the soldiers have any issue as a chaplain or as a priest, you're the first person they will run to. And so we are able to check into their morale in terms, we are there for their morale, and of course to encourage them, especially during the war times that when we were getting in Somalia in 2012, we'll pray for them, encourage them, walk with them, and show them that we are doing a noble cause. God is part of what we are doing. We are not in any way doing anything sinister, and assure them that as we are going, we will come back safely. The biggest challenge is seeing my patrols leaving for patrol. That is a special force unit, and when they come, you hear one down, X-ray. And you have to go to them and encourage them and pray for them and tell them that in the evening we are having another patrol and we have to go, and yet you are one man down. And in the evening again you have to prepare, go for the next patrol. When you talk of giving your life as a sacrifice, of course it affects also your colleagues. Like when I lost in 2013, 2014, I stayed with a team. And then finally thereafter in 2015, the same team that I served with for over 2 years, during our Eladi attack, they were all swept away, they died. I almost lost my life. I remember when we began anti-piracy along the coastline, that it is 2 a.m, it is dark in the oceans, and you are approaching a ship that is foreign and you don't even know how equipped they are. And you have to get there as a photographer. The best you have is your pistol and your cameras. And you have to board this ship, and it is at night. I remember we were working with one senior officer and we slipped off. I left the rail and then I slipped off and fell into the waters. Of course, there's a Navy personnel, you're a swimmer, and I did diving as part of my training. My actions were justified by my faith that if I take any legal measures against you in matter of security, I've not violated my role as a priest. I've only done the right thing, and that is, I think, what God also would wish of all of us. I came out to do matter security and consultancy, where I trained security companies and guards, and also do consultancy in farms and institutions. At the same time, I told you that when I was joining the Defense Forces, I was a black belt taekwondo holder as a coach. And so I've come out again to coach young minds, that is the children. I'm doing primary level taekwondo training. I realized that I had given my best, and I stand tall today that even my bosses, including the current Chief of Defense Forces, whom I worked with when he was just a base commander in Laikipia Air Base, would attest that this boy was giving his best. War is very expensive, and only those who know how expensive war is are those who have been in war and still are in war areas. Let's all embrace peace. Let's love each other. Let's embrace each other. We might differ in ideologies and the way we want to think, but that is not a source of enmity.